This is the MeatEater podcast coming at you shirtless, severely bug-bitten, and in my case, underwearless.
Gun Hog, the MeatEater podcast.
You can't predict anything.
The MeatEater podcast is brought to you by First Light. Whether you're checking trail cams, hanging deer stands, or scouting for elk, First Light has performance apparel to support every hunter in every environment. Check it out at firstlight.com. FIRSTLITE.com. All right, everybody, we're having a outdoor gear manufacturing convention. Did you catch that, Dave?
Yes, I got that.
Okay.
That's probably all I'll get today.
Joined in part by Dave Smith, and we're gonna clear something up right away. Dave isn't hearing everything, and last time he was on the show, his wife told him he sounded arrogant, which I didn't catch because he was just missing parts. Are you open about this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know.
Explain your problem.
Well, yeah. And by the way, my wife before this, she gave me some words of encouragement. She said, remember, Dave, you don't have to be funny, charming, and intellectual. Just be yourself. So I was like, that really helped a lot. But yeah, I can't hear shit. I mean, it's just way too much shooting and without wearing hearing protection and guiding. And I've taken as many as 24 goose hunters by myself on one hunt. And so don't be Dave. Wear hearing protection because it sucks when you get in this situation. That's for sure.
Okay,
He's got isolated.
You got your hearing aids in.
Got him cranked up. We'll do the best I can.
Okay. So if you're at home thinking, man, that Dave guy's an arrogant bastard,
he may be.
It's just that he can't hear.
I don't feel like that's going to be a problem for Dave.
No. Joined also by Jason Phelps, the team from founder of Phelps Game Calls. Yep. Joined by the Lewises from FHF Gear.
Yep.
Come on, say a little bit more than that.
I don't know what you want us to say.
Tell us about your hearing.
The highly verbose, the highly verbose Paul Lewis and Jen Lewis from FHF Gear.
My wife's here to tell me that same encouragement. During the podcast.
Jen's going to give you live feedback.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are designers. So you spend a lot of time you spend a lot of quiet time.
Yeah,
or that'd be the goal anyway.
It is the goal. We just got done with the shows down in Salt Lake and Portland, and for me at least, like my voice is gone by the first day because I'm used to sitting in a, like Dave said, a dark dungeon and not talking to anybody. So
yeah.
Needs to exercise the vocal cords a little bit.
Are you all visited out after doing trade shows?
Yeah, I think we both get where we need to just. This will be the most socialization we'll do probably for the next week or so.
How many trade shows did you go to?
This was number 2. We have 3, 4. So we have 3 more.
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to keep track, but it's a lot of people, a lot of talking.
Oh yeah, man.
But it's good. I mean, I enjoy seeing the customers and like getting that feedback. My voice goes out fairly early in the trip usually.
Phelps, did you like doing trade shows?
I love them. I did.
You do?
They wear on you though.
Look at this guy.
I like being at them, but I'm not. In the same breath, I'm glad that they were on the same weekend this year and they're just done and over with. But no, it's always good to catch up with your customers and listen to hunting stories and shoot the crap.
You know what I like that I didn't know you guys had is at your booth you have that chart, that like game call, that the diaphragm call matrix.
Yeah. It's just because you spend so much time explaining the same thing, so it's easy to point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this call's down here, this call's up here.
I would have rigged it so it was works, like had it go so it works better.
Then nobody would buy
and
the
it
one.
leads to a high price margin, man. I thought of that when I was looking at that.
We could. I was going to say at some point we're not going to buy the ones that work worse, but I get
yeah,
where
that
you're
damages
going.
Sales on the low working calls. Clay's here. He doesn't make anything. All his stuff is written in words.
That's right.
He makes cute carvings and artworks.
Yeah.
Did you see your picture out there?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Crink, you grab the picture so we can show the picture again.
Finally made it here.
We're doing a t-shirt design.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm gonna show it again.
I like it. Hey, I was gonna ask you a question, Jason, about your trade shows. Are you the guy that's elk bugling like nonstop?
Yep.
Just like attracting attention.
Yeah, and then like the special because
Is this where I put it?
Ooh.
Clay, can you, in your own words, quickly explain?
So, a couple years ago, I found this at my mom and dad's house and had completely forgotten that I had drawn this when I was a junior in high school in art class. It's a pen and ink of a muscled up dude.
Like a future man.
Yeah, with a machine gun shooting a big hog in a cypress swamp. And I made a living in high school, man, off drawing muscled up guys. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I just like drew those guys nonstop. And I think this is the first time I've realized this. This is a spin off the Bo Jackson wearing his shoulder pads with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
Do you remember you?
Oh, this was inspired by that?
Well, the shoulder pads. He's wearing football shoulder pads.
He's been on the show.
Yeah, Bo Jackson, man.
Yeah.
No, Bo Jackson had a famous baseball card or football card where he had his shirt off, shoulder pads on with a baseball bat.
shoulder.
I think that's what inspired the shoulder pads. But yeah, so we're gonna make a T-shirt, Machine Gun Hog. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be a good name for the shirt.
that's what I think. That's what we referred to it as.
Yeah. That's a great
It's
picture.
great artwork. It's,
Thank
it's
you.
really cool.
And then Dave Smith, of course, here from DSD. You know, how do you guys handle that? There's Dave Smith decoys and then DSD decoys. Have I ever asked you about this?
So I've always tried to push DSD because then it sounds less
Because you're arrogant.
Because exactly. Yeah.
Because you're already so arrogant.
Constantly
Cat's out of the bag,
you know what I
Dave.
mean? So I mean, at the beginning, I wanted to call them zombie decoys, and that just didn't stick. You know, people were just like, you know, you got to go get Dave Smith. You know, have you got any Dave Smith? And that just sort of happened. So, but now, you know, we're a larger larger company and part of a larger company and everything like that. Like
So you're comfortable with DSD?
I hope I don't offend Jason because of like Phelps Game Scholar or whatever like that. But I just like felt like I have, you know, I'm not like the you know, the big decision maker on everything. You know, I mostly do the artwork part of it and stuff like that. So there's so much contributors to DSD that I wanted to make sure that it wasn't all about me.
So you're comfortable with being DSD decoys?
Yeah, whatever. DSD. I mean, DSD decoys doesn't really make sense because it's Dave Smith decoys, so it'd be like Dave Smith.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm
Repetition
pointing
in
out.
Yeah.
So
I don't care.
I'm
Whatever.
changing Phelps game calls to PGC after him talking about arrogance in his name. So I'm going to take Phelps. We're going back to PGC.
Oh man, see,
They're all-
I'm already
easier
blowing
to
it.
say than FHF. So.
Joined also by Brad Cochran, who's never been on the show before. Brad Cochran from DSD.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I want to get to something. I want to get to something about your decoy philosophy.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I want to touch on it, then we'll delve into it later.
Hey, you need to just go all the way. You always do this. You always go. You touch on like the most
I'm
interesting
anxious about
thing,
I'm
and
nervous
you're
about
like,
it.
"We're gonna get back to it. Just go for it."
Okay.
Just let's go all in. Am I right, Corinne?
You have a rule that you don't want to shoot. Now you've bushwhacked turkeys in the past and done all the.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I got into turkey hunting when I was 14 years old. So, you know, I imagine like a lot of new turkey hunters, it was all about getting a bird.
Oh yeah.
In the
man.
beginning, you know.
Belly crawling,
Sure.
bushwhacking.
Oh, yeah.
Ditch crawling,
Yeah.
strangling, whatever it took.
Yeah.
But you got now. You don't want to hunt them if you're not using a decoy.
For sure.
Walk me through that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. I would say first and foremost, for me, it's really about the experience. I've found that there's nothing quite as memorable to me as having that really close encounter. And with decoys, I can draw them in as close as I want.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you know, I mean, obviously, I have to be concealed. That's certainly an important component to it. But there's also, you know, it's challenging. I like to let my season, you know, I like it to last more than 3 days. We have a 6-week long season in Oregon back home, so
Now, how many turkeys you guys allowed?
3.
Really?
Yeah, 1 per day, 3 per season.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are your turkey numbers holding up?
Yeah, they are. Our turkeys are doing really well.
When you when you say that there's a trick to it, do you feel that there's a trick to how you set them out?
Yeah, absolutely. You want them to be visible for sure. And I think it's really important that you go into your hunt knowing that, okay, my goal is to decoy a bird, right? So my mindset isn't that I want to get a bird however I possibly can. It is, I want to draw a bird into the decoy before I shoot it.
You want to spur that decoy.
Not necessarily, because sometimes I might just be using a hen decoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm archery hunting, for example, I've had better success with just a single hen decoy because the bird is more likely to either come in full strut and he's not moving, versus, when you put a gobbler decoy out, oftentimes the bird's response is that they're very aggressive when they come in. They come running in, they come, kicking the shit out of the decoy, and you're sitting there and you're waiting for the bird to stop. And, general rule of thumb, I would say I need a good 5 seconds to get drawn back, find my aiming point and then let my arrow fly. And that can be really difficult if you've got a bird that is so pissed off at your gobbler decoy that he just won't stop, beating the hell out of it. So I've found that shooting a bird in full strut is ideal. And actually, the most ideal is when you can get a bird to climb up on top of your hen decoy. So we make a decoy called our mating hen decoy.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually laying on her belly, and she's in a breeding position. It's a very natural looking breeding position, and it's really effective because it's super stable, and it's one of my favorite.
Oh, and they climb
decoys.
right up on there.
Yeah, they'll
But
climb on
don't
top
you think
of it.
that I'm surprised that he doesn't show up and think like, man, there's no way that hen's just laying out there in a
Too good to be true.
in a breeding position. Out
Well, they
Never
get over
happened
that
to any
real
of
quick usually.
Do you think that I hunt? So one of the places I hunt my buddy Doug Duran's place for the youth season, and sometimes you get where gobblers won't come out. They'll know that decoy's out there. Do you think when a gobbler won't come out and it just wants to like watch that decoy and then shy off from a male decoy? Do you think it's that he don't buy it, or you think that he don't want to go out and tussle with it?
I would say, it's just is it one of our decoys? Is it a realistic looking decoy we're talking about, or just in general?
just say like whatever. Yeah, one of your decoys.
Yeah, in that situation, I would say, assuming that your hide is good and he didn't see somebody move or pick you out,
Or call terribly.
yeah, then maybe he's just not in the mood to challenge another bird.
Mm-hmm. Because the way he's got set it up, he's got like this trail cam, and we'll set up and sit, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, every day that bird comes out and does whatever, And then so me and my kids go out there and we set up like a pack of them, and using a half strutter,
Mhm.
and he might come down and see that and not like it, but if it's just a hen, right out. And I was wondering if that bird doesn't want to get his ass kicked sometimes.
I would say in
And
that
it's the difference, because
situation,
then the other ones, and then you might get one that just runs out there like totally intent on fighting that thing.
yeah,
Like they got different moods or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
right, and that's why we make gobbler and hen decoys in multiple different poses. You see our strutter decoy over there, and he's that's a very dominant pose right there. And any gobbler that sees him knows that he's asserting himself. Whereas that one over there, which I'm going to call the half strut Jake because that's really what it is. And that way Dave doesn't kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the lines that got called the 3/4 strut Jake. And it got printed on a UPC label and put on 500 boxes shipping to Bass Pro Shops.
So he was 3/4 strutting.
He's actually half strutting. That's the intention of that decoy. So we're going to call it the half strut Jake, even though it
Dave
is
was not happy.
technically, if you look on our website, it's called the 3/4 strut Jake.
Tell me about the unhappiness. You just think it's goofy to say something's 3/4 strutting?
Well,
you have 3/4 crow rams.
I mean, I put a lot of effort into the poses and make sure I try to make them as accurate as possible and everything like that. And that is a half strut Jake.
Yeah.
I think what you have to realize here, Steve, is that Dave, he studies birds obviously a lot and their anatomy, and there are there are other poses that would be more closely resemble a 3/4 strut Jake. In other words, there are poses between that decoy that are closer to a bird that's in full strut, like that one right there, that would be more appropriate to call a 3/4 strut Jake.
You know those shirts that show like the evolution of man?
Yeah.
There you go.
We should do one of make it like 10 steps toward full strut.
Yeah.
With the fractions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one be like
Like a
picture
turkey
of an
just
egg.
hanging out, and then at the end is a turkey in full strut, and it just shows him. That'd be
The
great. That'd be
decoy
better.
guys would really
We should cancel
nerd
that.
out about that.
We should cancel that future man shooting
Yeah.
the hog,
Machine
shirt,
gun hog.
and just do the thing on the way to the thing.
This has helped people be able to describe what they're seeing. Like if I'm telling the story, I'm like, man, that turkey was 7/8 strut.
How often do you see that? You know when Jake's come in and get nervous about strutters. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. They certainly can.
What do you think what's going on in their head?
I would say that most of the time Jakes are probably intimidated by a strutter decoy if they're not going to approach it. But I've had even individual Jakes come up and attack our strutter decoy.
That's
it's more likely to happen. If
That's
it's
what
a
I was
group.
going to get to next is when you get a handful of them, and then they think they're going to take it on.
Yep.
Oh, I've had situations where I was hunting one big tom, and he absolutely would not come in because there was 3 Jakes in my decoys, and I couldn't get rid of the Jakes. And finally, I'm like, maybe I should just start shooting the Jakes or something.
Yeah.
That's going to be frustrating. But it's like with everything too. Even with the deer decoy, I've had bucks step out and see the deer decoy, and I'm super excited. And I'm like, I know it's a buck that has been aggressive before. And then it's just like on this day, he just doesn't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that individuals were in their certain pecking order, turkeys or deer, and that's how they'll always be. But even their mood can change within the hour or day to day and stuff like that.
There's no situation where, like, at a minimum, you're going to use a hen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no situation. Have you ever set out? Do you ever use no hen?
And just a gobbler decoy?
Yeah.
Maybe it's happened before. If it has happened, it was probably because I was just trying to move really quickly and I only felt like I had time, maybe to grab one decoy and set one decoy. Because the draw of a gobbler decoy is that, if you have an aggressive bird, oftentimes that might be the only tool you have to draw him away from his hens. Is to threaten him with another gobbler who's challenging him.
That he might want to come and rough.
Yeah,
up.
because if a bird has 5 hens with him, and he sees another hen, sure he might gobble at you, but he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave the real deal. And so, just generally speaking, I would say that you're going to have better success with a gobbler decoy if a bird's henned up.
One of the things I like watching is I like watching a hen come up to a hen and how they get like gradually really pissed. At first they're like purring at it, and pretty soon they're like, "Hey, what's your problem?" And then they're like pecking it. I've had them come in and like lay down next to it, like thinking they're hanging out, and then get mad at it and peck it. You watch them go through this whole little friendship.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Keeps everybody entertained.
With your decoy?
Oh no, so I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was hunting with my boy one time, and we had a DSD hen, and the hen came out, and I'm not kidding you, man, like laid down with it. Just sat there forever, laid down, not moving. and then got irritated at it and like purred at it, got eyeball to eyeball with it, was just not getting what it wanted out of it, pecking at it, bullying it.
Because the hen wasn't saying anything back.
I don't know.
The live one was probably asking it questions. It wasn't responding.
Yeah.
Probably like Brad and Dave
is.
when Dave can't hear what Brad's saying.
Pretty much. Yeah.
In that same spot where that happened, we had a coyote come over and roll that thing, which happens
The decoy?
which happens pretty frequently.
Mhm.
Come out and roll it. They more reliably roll the decoys than like a predator caller decoy. They'll charge it a lot of times. It's just a predator caller sitting there with a little tail waving. They'll charge it and then they'll change their mind. But the decoys, they go for it. I think because it looks like they get there and it looks like what they're expecting.
Yeah, they see
it doesn't look like a plastic box with a chunk of tail hanging off it. And then do you change your setup? You know what I'm talking about? Youth season.
Yeah,
youth season's always real early. When
I
talk about having like where you see like a bird, he seems like he doesn't want to duke it out, and he's like a little bit shy about coming up to a strutter decoy. But that's early, right? You can still be snow on the ground. So do you change how you set your decoys throughout the season?
Sure. I mean, that it changes as the season progresses, but it also, it could depend on, an individual bird that I might be going after, or, so it's not necessarily what I use for decoys doesn't necessarily correlate with the time of the season.
Got it.
A lot of times back home, our birds are still pretty flocked up during the youth hunt because that's the weekend before our season starts. We're April 15th. And the Saturday and Sunday prior to April 15th is the youth hunt. So, a lot of times we'll be setting up on, maybe the roost is holding 30, 40 birds. And a week or two later, there's only, maybe 15. So a lot of times during that youth hunt, you're actually not hunting too many individual gobblers, but there's lots of groups of 3, 4, 5 birds running around, and they're pretty dang aggressive. When you put a gobbler decoy out, and it doesn't really matter what it is, they're going to come attack it.
What's the most decoys you ever set out at one time? You ever put a whole flock out, like you're hunting geese?
Probably the most that I've ever put out is maybe five or so.
But when we go hunt with Matt Winters, he puts out like 12.
Oh, dude,
12 turkey decoys.
Yeah. And we have several customers that do that, and they just every time they're just shocked at how well it works. And I'm kind of surprised that it works that good, because it's like all of a sudden the flock of turkeys is, encountering a whole new flock. And
yeah, they're like, I thought I was the flock of turkeys.
Yeah. Like, let's go mingle. But yeah, it's pretty fun when we have done that. Matt Winters is the one who really turned that on. The first time we ever went, he's in Kansas. The first time we ever went to go hunt with him, he wanted to impress us of how many DSDs he had, and he had them all out in his yard. And then
he wanted to show you what a good customer he was.
yeah, exactly. Actually, yeah, and he's just been he's been buying up First Light gear the last couple of weeks. He's just like a great supporter of DSD and anything that we do. He's just a great guy. We love him.
All right, give me the just give people like the setup. If people aren't gonna try to figure a whole bunch of stuff out, and they're not gonna buy a dozen, and they're just starting out, what do they want to put out? They want to put out a strutter and a hen, just give it like the straightest, most idiot-proof setup for idiots.
Well, like I ask them first, about their hunting. First off, are you a shotgun hunter or are you an archery hunter?
Shotgun.
Okay, you're a shotgun hunter. Then I would get a hen and a Jake decoy.
Hen and a Jake.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
3/4 strut.
So if you're telling someone like, okay, let me give you the profile of the guy. There's a guy. Let's just say there's a guy that he's got access on some field, and it's not a big spot. He's got access on 40 acres, and now and then he notices on his way to work, he'll see some turkeys out in the field, and he thinks to himself, man, I'm going to go out in that field on opening day and I'm going to sit there. And that's as much as he knows.
Yeah, that's a perfect Jake and a hen guy. Some of the guys will start them off with a strutter if they have like a big boss tom that they've been having trouble with. That's the time to put a strutter. But it's also amazing.
Trouble with, what do you mean?
Well, like they just haven't been able to get him to.
Oh, got it. They can't get him to commit
by any other way or with other decoys or something like that. But yeah, I mean a half strut Jake and a upright hen is a great. People have done that for years and years, just starting out and had great success with it. And we've had quite a few people at the beginning just put out just an upright hen only and start with that. But if you can afford 2 decoys, a Jake and a hen just really covers it. And then after that, if you want to improve your odds, then you start adding in at least like confidence poses, like feeders and preeners. And that kind of helps a lot.
Do you, my buddy Zuck, when he's putting them out, he likes to put them out where he's like, well, yeah, but I could picture him walking toward that corner, and he makes sure that they look like they're traveling in the right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're into that? Okay.
Yeah, we made a striding hen just for that purpose, and we have some people that'll buy 3 or 4 of them just for that reason.
Yeah.
So we just try to offer everything and give you lots of options so that everyone's confused.
Right.
Is there any decoy company that makes realistic looking feet, turkey feet?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
Why?
There are some.
That's the only part of any decoy that's not realistic.
Yeah.
But I mean, by the time they get that close, it's probably
Because
too
his
late.
feet's in the grass.
But I mean, they've all got the stake coming down, and I mean, a turkey feet are kind of bright, that bright pink.
Oh.
I just wondered if there's like if you could, and maybe it's not a factor, but
There's some things that I can't tell you, I can't say right now. But we agree.
it could be like a detachable bipod. I don't have any inside intel here. I'll shut up.
Oh, I can tell what Dave can't say.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
nobody's
I've
not gonna
detected, not can tell. I
Oh.
can't tell
I've
you.
got some ideas.
But I mean, feet are a huge part of birds. Like
Yeah,
mallard ducks, even sitting on the water,
you can see they're bright.
feet are a huge part of it. And Canada geese, especially the large race white cheek geese, the feet are a huge part of it. And I've fought that battle with NDSD forever, like wanting to have full legs and feet. So we have legs, but we don't have feet. But the feet are really a big part of a goose.
How about a little battery pack where they move like this?
There you go.
So you're saying that the feet mean something to a bird?
Well,
Picture that you saw a dude standing out in the field with no legs, but he was hovering.
But
Yeah.
he looked really normal.
Yeah, I mean, because like in our goose hunting, a lot of our goose hunting is about landing birds and having them walking around the decoys.
Oh.
So sometimes we'll use small spreads, but get birds to land, and then those are our decoys while we try to get other birds to come in case we want to look for a leg band or neck collar out of the air. And it's probably okay that the decoys don't have feet while the birds are coming in to land. If you wanted to shoot at the first flock that came in, it'd
You
probably
want
be
them
fine.
to land.
But once they land and they're walking around the decoys, it does seem like, I mean, the decoys hold birds really well, but it does seem like it's just not right that all the decoys are like hovering there on a post. It bothers me. I don't know if it bothers the birds, but it'd be kind of cool to have the complete bird for sure.
Mm-hmm. But usually they're like sitting in grass. But anyways, I got what you're saying.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
And your guys' lineup, when did you start making turkey decoys? Because everything, like you were like all geese all the time, and then you moved into...
Brad is the DSD historian, and he's good with dates and stuff, and it's all a blur to me. So, Brad?
It was in 08 with our upright hen.
Uh-huh.
It was in 08 with our upright. So can we edit that out to where it looks like I answered?
Who's who paints the... is there a turkey painting specialist?
I mean, our whole paint crew paints them.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is there like... is it divided out, or do the same people that paint geese paint turkeys?
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, that's how we do it.
It's divided out.
So if they paint geese, they also paint turkeys.
Okay, I got you.
And they get sick of they kind of get sick of painting just one thing for a long time, and they actually like a little bit of variety. They don't mind going from turkeys to geese and back to turkeys and then to deer or something like that.
Got it.
It's kind of monotonous otherwise.
When they paint them, is it a small? What is the tool? Is it a small airbrush?
They use big touch-up guns and then small airbrush and then a lot of hand painting too. So, and then there's stenciling.
I don't want to dog on any particular decoy company, but I remember when we were younger, we'd buy like a certain brand of decoys, and a lot of times you'd see where it was automated or something because they'd miss.
Yeah.
Like the white patch.
Yeah. It didn't quite hit the spot. Yeah. That's
like the white patch would be around the bag with head or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, that.
So but when someone buys one, there's been a dude painting on it.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
and there's probably been like 5 people that contributed to that one decoy, because we don't have like individual stations where somebody paints a decoy from start to finish. We'll put a base layer on, and then progressively, step by step, it'll move down to the next person and so on and so forth until it's fully painted.
You ever seen, but none of those guys wear berets and stuff, do they? With the little palette.
No. We don't.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. in there painting.
That'd be a good ad campaign, man. As a dude with a beret and a palette doing some touch-ups on
Put some happy little waddles on this album.
on a turkey. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like on the strutter, for example, all that red is all painted by hand brush, and the entire body colored. Every bit of pearls and iridescence on that's all painted by brush, by hand.
How long does it take to paint a decoy, start to finish?
I don't know.
That's we get asked that so often,
and we have no idea.
We
We don't want to know.
You don't add it up?
No, I mean, maybe Greg does. But yeah, we're working on a new decoy right now that's really, really difficult to paint that I can't really talk about it because we're not positive that we'll come out with it, but it's really, really difficult to paint. And it's like, oh man, if we figured out how many, we'll never make a profit with it.
What's it supposed to look like? What kind of animal?
A bird.
What bird?
One that goes quack.
Like a Himalayan cock of the rock?
Yeah. It's a Temix tragopan.
Yeah.
What makes it hard? The position it's in or the kind of bird it is?
It's a mallard duck is what we're working on right now. And it's just a lot of, there's a lot of airbrushing, a lot of colors and all that stuff.
He's showing me a mallard
already?
right now. Holy cow.
Can I ask a dumb question? And that's not going to offend decoy people. How much does it matter? Like, I'm not like, I just don't know. Like, if the paint's off a little bit, will the birds pick it up? Or does it matter 10% of the time?
And we just decided a long time ago to just make things as accurate as we possibly can. And I've made fish replicas my whole life, and my mentor was honestly the best fish replica artist on earth, Ron Pittard, and he just taught me that you just don't stop until something's deadly accurate, and then it has made a huge difference. So I don't know for sure how much it really matters or whatever, and it's not all about like I'm doing it for me or anything like that. Like it's like shit. No, we want birds super close. We want to make quick, clean kills. Everything that we do is mostly for our own hunting, and it's to be as absolutely as effective as we can. We honestly don't give a shit about how pretty the decoys are or whether they were carved by a world-class carver or anything like that. We just love to hunt and as effectively as we can. Yeah. So
I think realism is a big deal with turkey decoys.
Yeah.
Big deal because guys were the real serious guys years ago, and some still today are using actual turkey mounts that have real turkey feathers,
stuffers.
And if you're trying to get them in close, it's a big deal.
Yeah. You're just hoping it don't rain.
Yeah, they get wet.
Well, there's so many guys that they'll say like, well, we don't like turkey decoys, or turkey decoys don't work that well and stuff like that. And we've seen a lot of footage of birds coming in, and they're just like hanging up like crazy. And they're like, yeah, see, turkey decoys don't work that good, but they're using some brand of turkey decoys that just looks horrible. And it's like, well, that's the problem, and that's telling us a lot, and that's kind of driving what we do. And it's like most of the time, if we can get those guys to switch, then good things happen.
But I think on anything that's real persnickety and has a ton of components, people can always say, well, does that matter? Does that matter? Does that matter? And be like, I can tell you that the sum total matters, and perhaps there's parts within this whole approach that if you pulled out, it wouldn't affect the outcome, but it's not discernible. You can't pick the pieces apart. Meaning, if someone says, like, does camouflage really matter? I'm like, you're never going to say, I would have gotten that had I not been wearing camo.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, in every situation, if you call a bull in or call a turkey in, and you go like, okay, I'm gonna rerun the universe and start manipulating slight different things, like I wasn't wearing a glove, my turkey was a little shittier, and then my decoy is a little bit shittier looking, and then run the scenario to the point where you identify the exact thing that had to be right or wrong to make it work. You don't get there. But if everything's right and you just know it works, I don't really care about what parts might have been superfluous.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you really need to
100%.
wear that glove? I don't know. I just got the turkey.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's like with goose hunting, a lot of it, like the hide is so important. And, the calling is important if you're calling at all. And so it's like everything really has to be right.
Yep.
And you wouldn't want to start removing any part and start taking chances. That's
yeah,
for
you
sure.
know, yeah. It's like there's no way in the world you would say that I would have gotten that gobbler if my decoy wasn't as high quality.
Right. Well, and then also like Brad is alluding to, it's like, well, you could probably get a gobbler, but would he come into 10 yards and really interact like crazy with the decoy and just have this breathtaking moment? It's like, well, maybe he would have came into 30 yards and you could have, dumped him with a shotgun or whatever.
Yeah.
Just depends on what level of really fun and excitement you want to take it to.
I sent you guys that video last year of a bunch of gobblers mounting your posturing hen.
Yeah, we try to look away when that happens, but it's like it's kind of hard not to. It's
So you're
just
not
like,
supposed to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your head out of the gutter.
Oh, I got one last bird question, one last turkey question. If the paint job's so realistic and all that, why is there what's up with using a real fan or not a real fan? I can't tell if it matters.
Yeah, we wanted to make an artificial fan. We still want to, just because it's so durable, because those are a pain to deal with, for sure. But we haven't been able to make an artificial fan that really has the right finish and translucency and all that stuff. And we haven't seen any available that are that way too. And we have a spectrometer and we use it occasionally. We probably should use it more or whatever, but so we can kind of check the finish and the reflection on a real bird or a real fan compared to a decoy and all that stuff. And we just haven't been able to come up with a real fan that that's durable, but we'd love to,
Yeah. Now, have you ever thought about doing like map spinners and buying and selling fans?
There's already a company that does.
So you can call them up and buy a turkey fan?
Well, we've sent some customers to them, but most of our customers will have a whole,
Oh no, I keep a stack of them, dude. Every year I go through and sort them.
Yeah.
Take the bad ones, get rid of them, promote the good ones.
Yeah. Yep.
I was just dusting off my fan pile the other day thinking about coming up.
Yeah, turkey fans are one of those things. Like I find myself every time I clean a bird, it's like so hard to throw it away,
Mm-hmm. So you think that so when you guys are setting up, you're setting up with a real fan if it's a full strut bird.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You know that that fanning, some states are starting to come out with rules about creeping up on turkeys with a turkey fan.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Wisconsin, you can't do that anymore.
And I think maybe even in Kansas you can't reap, but don't quote me on that.
You can't move. How they spelled it out, you can't move around. There's some rule. You can't like move around with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people have been reaping where they'll take even our decoy and get behind it and start crawling around. And I've never done it myself, but some of my turkey partners have done it, and they'll do it like with 3 or 4 guys all behind strutters and crawling up, and they've had like this huge bunch of toms just come in and it's like, it looks like the Civil War or whatever, and come in and just start thrashing them and everything, and then they jump out with shotguns and all that stuff, whatever. It sounds kind of crazy and it sounds kind of dangerous, but yeah, that's.
I think that's why states are clamping down on it. It's
Yeah.
just the risk factor.
Yeah, we don't
For sure.
want people to do that for sure.
Dude, there's no way. Like I might, but there's no way I would let my kid crawl around with
Yeah.
a turkey fan on his head, because then my wife would be home at what? Like once she got to understand, if he got whatever sprayed by a load of shotgun shells or a load of pellets, and then was asking me about what happened, and I was like, "Oh, I told him to take a turkey's fan and crawl around out in the field."
Yeah,
She's just
With
gonna
it
get
over his face.
She's just gonna
Yeah.
get mad,
yeah, that's for sure.
so I don't do it.
Yeah, I've got a design idea for your turkey fan.
Okay,
I can't tell it. It's-
Okay.
it's that good.
okay, I like it.
Clay, I want you and Phelps to do heat us up with a little turkey calling
A
action.
little turkey calling.
Yeah, tell me what
Just
you're
a
putting
little-
in your mouth.
Yeah, this is I just got these from Jason this morning. This is what is this, Jason?
That's a tripping hen.
This is the tripping hen.
Yep.
They're usually a little better after you warm them up a little bit. But
Warm them up like to body temp.
I mean, like,
They like the
use them for
stick.
a couple of days.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, Seth's got a word for it. I can't remember what it is.
I can't hear myself.
I know it's tough.
Take your headphones off.
It's a good gobble.
Oh, that's great.
Sounds good.
Your gobble's a little too high pitch.
Yeah, I got a real light call.
Have you ever heard a hen try to gobble?
No. I know people talk about this, but no.
Yeah, it's extremely high pitched.
But
to
like,
the
do
point
you
where
think
it's, like,
she's
comical.
trying to gobble, or is it just a hen vocalization?
For sure, I've seen them actually like throw their head forward and
Oh, really?
make that sound. Yeah.
Oh.
2 years ago, I had a hen come in full strut, and I was filming by myself. It was pretty cool. I haven't seen that happen too much, but
Phelps, heat us up.
What's your little bird app that you say this isn't a woodpecker?
You're not
but,
gonna trick this.
But
You want me to pull it
what
up?
is it? No, I just want to remind
Merlin.
you because you're going to say that it's not a woodpecker. But whatever this is, I got.
Let me
it's our new-
turn Merlin on.
Oh goodness.
Are you really trying to do
Well,
this
I feel
yourself?
like no, I didn't. I was just bringing up that I called this woodpecker, but you reminded me last time that it wasn't.
Okay, sound ID is on. You're not gonna trick it.
Hold on.
You don't think it's going to pick up?
He's not gonna trick it.
Really?
You'll trick. So do some hen calling. Okay, I got it up. It says listening for birds. You'll trick it with a hen call, because I can trick it with a hen call.
You got to get better than that.
I think it's something with being in the room or something. Okay, Phelps, you hit it. You stop from it. You hit
So
it.
we're gonna hit the new woodpecker call.
No. Hit turkey call. Oh no,
Oh.
who just did something?
I was turkey.
he did
calling.
No, I just took a minute. I got wild turkey now.
I think it's
It was just
because
being slow.
I think it's because I finally started calling. I'm a little better than Clay.
Okay, you call.
So,
Hold on, you call. Okay, hit it. Okay, he's binging it. Clay.
Uh-oh.
Maybe the tone. This is a different call.
It's a new call.
Try something different. You're not getting it. Phelps. It didn't bing at that
Now we
time.
both
But I
suck.
think we got no. It's not that. We just got a problem.
What's the cut on those, Jason?
The what?
The cut.
I think we actually split a bat wing on that one, so it's a split down the middle, and then this
Okay.
is a combo cut we nicked the second layer a little bit on the open side on this one. This is a
okay.
really, really light call, like all prof, and then that one's a little bit
Yeah,
thicker.
explain what you mean by light call.
All right.
So we can layer in, most of your turkey calls, there are a lot of doubles, but I would say the majority of your turkey calls are going to be 3 pieces of latex. So like when this one being ultra light, the new Rain series, it's got prophylactic, and a very light piece of latex on top that's cut. So this call is going to call way lighter than like a call that Clay has, like 0035. So now you're stacking latex that's almost twice as thick as this for every piece. So it's to try to have a louder. You can cut on that call a little better, locate a little bit louder. Where this is going to be more of your real intricate, low volume bubble clucks, yelps.
But lighter is easier for beginners
To make
you don't have
noise.
to learn. You don't have to learn how to force as much air.
Yeah, and you can get into like different styles of turkey collars. Like the old school guys, they call it like a huff style, where you're using like a lot of diaphragm, a lot of air. Where like these new calls, it's like just real light air. You're not having to just get rid of so much air.
Okay, rip on that one a little bit.
The new
Oh,
woodpecker.
No,
Oh.
not the woodpecker yet. I like that you did a woodpecker.
The purr's not real good this morning.
Clay, you're digging around in there. What do you got now?
I've never put
So
this
now
one
he's
in
got
my mouth.
now he's got the Casper, which will be like our ultra light, like ghost cuts, like Kiki's.
Merlin's perking right up on that one.
So it likes a little higher pitch call.
Well, like I said, it likes everything when you're outside.
Well, I remember that one time you were sitting under a tree and you had like 42 birds going at
Oh
once.
no! I think something weird happens because when you're outside, any kind of turkey calling, it'll usually
Pick right
it'll
up.
start binging. Yeah. Now let me see your
Woodpecker. So this is
yeah.
our new guy. Worked with James Harrison again.
But I want Clay. Tell him our woodpecker problem, the woodpecker debate.
Which one, man? About ivory-billed woodpeckers?
No, about like
Pileated?
my blue jay call and all that.
Oh, just shot gobbling calls.
Shot gobble.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what me and Clay's debate is about shot gobbling. I think that a good shot gobble is something that gets shot gobbles.
Yeah.
Clay thinks a good shot gobble is something that sounds exactly like
Accurate.
a bird, an owl, right? I don't care if it sounds like an owl.
So I had
Well, hey,
I just
let me respond. Let me respond
noises.
to that.
No,
Okay.
I like.
Hey,
If you want shot gobbles, I've said it.
so you'd be
If
okay.
you want
with-
shot,
hey,
you want
make,
something.
make
you
your
want,
point,
hey,
and then
do-
I'll
okay.
tell you.
If you want a
we're
shot
talking about
gobble,
two different things.
No,
I'm gonna moderate.
I thought we were
this.
talking about turkey hunting. We were talking about turkey decoys. We're talking about turkey calls.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
We're talking about turkey hunting.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Right.
So setting the scene, talking about turkey hunting.
Okay.
We're like here to talk about turkey hunting.
Yes.
Ben talking about turkey hunting. Shot gobbles are elicited by, in my view, gobbles are best elicited by like sudden, very sharp, disruptive sounds.
Correct.
It's yeah.
Okay.
So okay. Are you done?
He is not, that turkey is not sitting there thinking, God, was that a real owl? He's not. But when he gobbles quicker than he can think.
Yeah. I agree with you. The difference between what you're doing and what I'm trying to do and what I appreciate in realism and all levels of woodsmanship
Mm-hmm.
is the difference between spin casting and fly fishing.
Tell me the difference.
Because when I go into the woods, it's like now not necessarily me. I'm not the best owl hooter nor the best turkey caller, but you go down with some of these guys from Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, these guys that, and man, they owl hoot with their mouth. They sound like a turkey. I mean, you just fit into nature. So it is really a stylistic thing. Yeah. Yeah, I could go
What's
out
this have
and
to do with spin casting and fly casting?
I mean, it's the same thing. Like
You think a really good bass
it's about
fisherman,
style.
a really good bass fisherman that can land that that can land a 3/8 ounce.
I thought
jig
that was a great analogy.
through the
Spin.
whole.
Do you see what I'm saying? I
yeah.
mean, it's like
Yeah.
when I go
I
in the
get it.
woods, I don't want people to know, wow, Steve Rennell just slammed his car door.
Yeah, or has a
You
can
know?
of air. Like it has an air horn.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
I was
man,
able
no,
to use
I want to sound like a bar.
what I was resenting, and I resent this more than your take on owl hooting and all that. No, I appreciate a good owl hoot, but I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't think it in
matters.
terms of getting a gobble.
I don't think it does.
It's neither
either.
here nor there.
I don't
But I
think it
take
does
offense at your thing. Like you were going to go down some path that like that somehow fly casting is somehow like more poetic or some bullshit.
100%.
Oh my
When
God.
when I'm in the woods, I want to be. I don't want someone on the next ridge to go, that dude just owl hooted.
And you think spin fishing is louder?
I thought this was going to be the best analogy ever done on the
I'm
MeatEater podcast.
I'm with both of you guys.
No, just what people say. Like you're going to the river to fish. A spin caster is just trying to get the job done. A fly fisherman is trying to do it.
He's
like
there
the
to
hard way.
cast.
Like an
Like
artwork.
the
There to
decoy
cast.
men are bobbing their heads here.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, yeah, you can get a turkey to gobble all different ways. I agree with that. But there's some art, there's some nuance,
great
there's some
thing.
craft
Yep.
inside of your crow call, your owl call. And
Clay took my crow call and wrote, "This is a blue jay call" on it.
Disrespect.
yeah.
Well, no, because it is. I told him I'm trying to replicate it.
See, that would have helped me the first time I heard him blow it if I would have known he was trying to do a blue jay.
Yeah.
Makes
No,
it
I,
out.
I we had this conversation multiple times just at the show. Like, well, what's the difference between the wood owl hooter and the pro? I said, well, the wood owl hooter actually sounds better. It's cheaper, but for a hunting call, I want to be able to crank that thing up, not sound quite like an owl, but be able to reach the next ridge over and get that response and still kind of sound like, the best owl call we can build. And so there's a lot of that, like just being the best hunting call, but then like, we had that conversation with Dave, like not willing to cut any corners and just be the absolute best decoy, where on calls, especially, shock gobble calls in particular, I'm willing to cut a few more corners where like, the new triple locator, it's twice as loud as anything out there. Yeah, I could have made it maybe a touch more accurate, but it's just dialed in. It still sounds like the woodpecker. It still sounds like an owl scream, but I designed it for more volume, so maybe we lost a little bit of that quality.
So
So
it's,
you're
so, so it's
That's
like
okay.
fly fishing, but it's like Euro nymphing.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
trying to
Perfect.
cut.
It's still
Perfect
technically
analogy.
fly fishing.
So you're gonna blow on a pileated call.
Yeah, or what our hunting pileated woodpecker call is. Very loud. You guys are all, Dave's probably gonna really hate it, but I don't
No,
think
I'll
this.
finally be
Remember,
able
we
to hear
had this in
something.
Kansas last year, and it did not pick up, and so I'm a little
Well,
nervous.
but there's a lot of weirdness about what picks up and don't pick up. Because what I've found, like outside inside's a big difference. We'll see.
Okay.
God, that sounds good though, man.
Did it pick up?
No, it's not
It's my-
picking up.
My favorite thing to do is like come down out of my office. I think all the workers are just down there putting stuff together and just hit them with a woodpecker call.
Hit it again. That sounds good though. Oh yeah.
And then this James Harrison, the owl hooter, wins all the contests. Matter of fact, our owl hooter, he just told me out of the 29 people calling at the Grand National Championship, 24 of them, I think, had our wood owl hooter out of 29.
That's
Seriously?
big,
Yeah,
man.
like legit.
A Phelps owl hooter.
Yeah. And then we got the owl scream, which this is his
Hold on,
thing,
24 out of 29 guys are using your owl hooter.
according to James Harrison on the stage at the NWTF convention.
Do you think it's fair
Big.
that they could be using any kind of call at all for a competition?
What do you mean?
Fair as in,
Like, I would think if you were having an owl hooting competition, you'd have to also have a just raw voice.
Well, that's a whole different competition, and they've
So they
moved
separate
more
it out.
towards the calls.
They have.
Man, hey, in Arkansas, Bentonville, Arkansas, March 9th, we're having a natural voice owl hooting contest at the Black Bear Bonanza. We are making it into the world's premier natural voice owl hooting contest.
So they divide out natural voice.
Yeah, that's all we do.
yeah.
Okay. Hit me with one, Clay.
Oh! Ooh, 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 ooh. I could never do them on call. I had a guy at a show the other day come up to me and was like, "Hey, Clay, give me an owl hoot." It was terrible. I was embarrassed. I was like,
Hold on, everybody be quiet. Give me another one. So
Didn't pick up.
no, it's not doing it. So. Well, no, because I know yours pick up. And what was killing Clay, or what was killing Seth Morris, is we were calling to owls. You were there, Seth was there, and he could just get the owl to come in, get the owl to answer, but the app wouldn't pick it up, and he had to keep messing, and he had to change his call
So that the app would pick up.
and it wound up being in the gurgle at the end.
Oh,
He had to
Like the
manipulate his
trill.
own gurgle. He had to like customize it to try to get picked off by the app. But outside, yours picks off. But I don't know.
yeah.
Do that one again. I want to hear that one again. That sounds good.
Back to
man.
woodpecker, do the owl scream.
Let me hear the owl scream.
So
I want
this
to hear
is-
the woodpecker. I want to hear
So
the pileated.
owl scream will just be like a pitch break. You've all heard the owl scream like early in the morning.
Now, here's what I think. Before you do this, I think that like sure sounding like a bird. That's great. That's what I'm talking about. For getting
Loud.
gobbles.
Yep,
Is
yep.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
Startled.
like
Loud,
just so
shrill.
like it's so all of a sudden, and it's so you can't ignore it.
Yep.
Because the thing is, how many times in most places, if you're sitting there waiting for it to light out, first thing you're going to hear in a lot of areas, you're going to hear a northern cardinal, and he's going to be the first thing in the morning, and then you're going to hear crows. Right? They're just going to be like, if you're paying attention, there's always a crow
Everywhere.
going off, and I just think it loses its.
Yeah, that's where the woodpecker, like you do the pretty little doo, 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 doo. And like when you're out hunting, you can literally hit the first one and be done and get the same response. Like he's already gobbling from that one. You know,
Yep.
but back to Clay's point, I want to be somewhat accurate and like finish out sound like a woodpecker, so you finish the call.
Hey,
up.
could it not be? I think there's an argument to be made that realism might make a difference. Because, like, if you're hunting a super smart, wary bird that's had 4 years of hunting pressure, and you walk up there with an air horn and he's heard
He's not coming.
the truck pull up, and maybe he gobbles at it, but he doesn't have the brain power to think, oh, that's Steve Rennell over there.
Yeah.
But he's just like, maybe, you know.
That's the thing I do wonder about. Is I wonder about the difference because we're talking. That's two things. That's eliciting a gobble, okay, and then there's is he going to come over?
Like, did he just add something to his knowledge base where it's like that wasn't the real? I gobbled, but
Yeah,
now
I
there's
used
something
to.
over there.
I used to get mega gobbles off of a rabbit distress call. I mean, mega, like way off gobbles. But then I'm thinking, okay, he gobbled, but is he really going to come moseying over here
If he thinks
later?
that
Like, you know, okay,
rabbits dying.
Yeah.
well, you do like a rabbit. I would just go, "Wah!" Right? And you'd
Yeah.
get gobbles. But is he then put in his head like, that to me is not an area I'm going to go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I think
Over yonder where the rabbit's dying.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
It's-
I
And
think
no
that's
amount of hen
legit.
calling from that area is going to feel right to me because I've
Yep.
just
Yeah.
logged that as like I gobble to it, but you're not going to talk me into going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
You know.
same reason like Eastern Washington, coyote howls work great for locating, especially later in the day. But you're like, if you want to try to call that bird in, like in my mind, at least the picture I'm painting, like, why is this bird going to come to
Oh, I
this
wonder
coyote
about it all the
just
time, man.
yet?
Yeah, the only
Yeah.
thing I would add is like I do agree that there's something to be said for a short call to get a shot gobble because then you can hear them gobble, you know, which is nice.
Yeah.
If you do a long drawn out call, it's like, hey, well, I mean, maybe you guys don't have that problem I do with my hearing. Like I gotta stop quickly so I can hear him, but also then you know where he's at. You could go to him, and then I also agree 100% with what you're saying about how they kind of can't help themselves. Like if you watch, you know, 3 toms gobble and it appears that they're gobbling at exactly the same time. But if you watch carefully, it's always one of them gobbled first. You know, there's 2 are just a split second behind. And that is just sort of an involuntary response. And that can be the same thing, I think, with the shot gobble.
Okay, hit the other one.
So
Oh, I want to add on that. A thing that causes tension between me and my turkey hunting friends is that they think that I start walking too quickly after making my shot gobble noise. Giannis gets irritated. I don't give it enough beats. But I'm like, he would have already gobbled.
yeah, I'm on Team Rennell on this one. Like it's shot
You don't need to
gobble
stand
within
there for a minute.
even 5-10 seconds. Like that's too much. If he gobbles, it's on his own.
I'm
Hey,
trying to think.
let-
I'll do it. I'll go like, ah. I'll be like, 1, 2. Yeah, I'm walking on 6.
Yeah.
Man, he doesn't
hey,
want to walk till 20. And I'm like, dude, you might hear a gobble, but it's not.
Not related deer.
Yeah, you're just regular listening. You're not listening.
Man, the best turkey hunters that I've ever hunted with do very little early morning shot gobbling. I mean, I think there's a
depends
correlation.
So much, it depends so much on the area, man.
Yeah. Yeah, just the patience that I see in some of these guys that, I mean, they're not well-known people, just like really good turkey hunters. Man, they let that turkey gobble on his own most of the time. And I mean, they carry a shot gobble or an owl or crow with their mouth and use that. But I would say the number one way to identify a beginner or novice turkey hunter is how much they're using shot gobble calls.
It's too dependent. Sure. If you're in a high density area, whatever, if you're like out in the never ending ponderosa pine grassland stuff, right? And it's cute. You're going to go miles between anything.
Yeah. And I think we're talking about two different things.
It's just a way different
west.
kind of hunt. Yeah. You're like
it's
somewhere
different.
out in this 10 square miles, there might be a gobbler. And if I'm going to find a bird over the next 2 days, I'm going to have to hunt very aggressively and try to get a gobble.
100%.
Because any amount of sitting here listening is like, I'm going to have to find a bird.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah. More of what I'm talking about is back east hunting a bird that maybe you know is there, smaller ground. You might be spending your whole morning in a square mile or less, or maybe 160 acres.
Yeah.
Man, you're gonna play a patient game. But
all right, go on.
So I'm gonna try the James Harrison's a pro at this thing, but we developed it as an owl screamer as well.
Yep. Oh, that gets him.
I mean, just once again, just big loud bursts. Like I said, I probably just did that call no justice. That's his side. I want a woodpecker call. But
now that right there is for getting gobbles.
Yeah, just high pitch.
Now what you do with them?
You should call that the spin caster.
The spin caster.
No, that gets a gobble. What you do with them afterward is up to you, but that's going to get a gobble.
Yeah, and that's why in this call, like I said, we could have been way more, or maybe not on the owl screamer side, but on the woodpecker, I had more accurate sounds. But then we kept adding more volume, made it loud. Because like I said, I'm a hunter at heart. I just want these things to answer so I can start the game and then go from there.
There's two contests. There's two tournaments I'm trying to figure out how to conduct. I want to have a glassing invitational.
Oh, I love that.
Where you have set out stuff?
No, not set out.
Okay.
I want it to be real. So I want to have a glassing invitational where you go to a good area and there's judges. And to score a point, to find an original find, you put a spotting scope on it, and the judge comes, looks, verifies the find. And that's like 100 points. Now, one bedded next to it or whatever, those are 50s or 25s. Once you make a find, the judge sort of like declares that find area closed, or everyone's operating out of a little structure, like a little beach tent.
So they have the opportunity to find it
So
too.
you don't know. So all the competitors can't tell where someone's looking. So figure that out. And like you get a point and you set up at daybreak and you have till 11. And it's like the World Glassing Championship.
I like it.
I love it.
Dude, it'd be a great competition.
Sounds
the other
really exciting to watch.
No. Dude, I would love it. I would love it.
It would be. I could be like a golf commentator.
I thought about it where you
Steve, looking
hide
to the east.
little things out, but I don't think it should be like that.
Yeah.
Because stuff pops.
Well, if everybody was looking at the same landscape, it would be fair.
No, but you want to be in an area. And I know right where I would hold it. I know right the hill. I know the peak I would go to conduct it.
Dude, listen, I'll be one of the commentators. I'll on the live stream, and then we'll have like it roped off with people along the sides like a golf tournament. And every time somebody does a find, and I'll be like, "Oh, that was a beautiful find by Steve Ranella."
My other tournament is the World Shot Gobbling Invitational, and I don't know how to conduct it.
Yeah, you'd have like categories like owl hoot, woodpecker,
just eliciting gobbles.
Freestyle unlimited.
Freestyle. It's freestyle unlimited eliciting gobbles. I don't know how to make it equal though.
Another nail biter.
Yeah. Who can elicit the most? You'd have to be like days long to rule out incidentals, or not to rule out incidentals, to rule out the freaks. It'd have to be 10 days. You know,
It's a big commitment.
to be like, oh, he just got the good spot that morning. But over time, you're going to see you're going to see a champion emerge,
A trend.
someone that just can elicit gobbles,
Just has that.
and it's probably going to be, unfortunately, a dude with an air horn.
It's going to put to rest all of our theories. If you could figure out how to give away a truck at both of those, you'd fill up the.
I am
fill
going to
up
do the
stacks.
glassing. The glassing invitational. I'm serious about. I think you could pull off a glassing invitational.
For sure.
Oh, Dave, you know another thing I wanted to ask about? Just change subject a little bit. You guys, all you guys decoys, or tell me about American-made decoys.
All our turkey decoys are made in America, always have been. And it's difficult and it's expensive, and but the quality is really good. They're super durable, and we love our crew, and they're good people, and it's just how we decided to do it. And
But there would have been an easier way to do it. Like, it's not like out of necessity.
yeah, oh my gosh, I mean, like I'm almost the only USA made turkey decoy. There might be a few.
Cue the national anthem, Phil.
But most decoys are what overseas?
They're blow molded, out of polyethylene, made in China, and there's nothing wrong with that. It makes them lightweight and inexpensive, and all that stuff. But
Can you pull that mic a little bit closer, Dave? Sorry, the microphone closer.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you.
Oh, Dave, how much you been hearing? Have you been hearing most of everything today?
Much better without the headphones.
Did you hear
on.
that owl call?
No, I didn't. I thought it was a
Can you
dog
hear the
whistle.
gobble?
Yeah. But yeah, it is, we're able to make like a really, really super durable decoy, which is kind of nice. I mean, like we have one video of Brad shooting a decoy, and it's on purpose. It wasn't an accident or anything. He shot a decoy with heavy shot from 10 yards away, and goes and picks up the decoy, and you absolutely cannot find a mark on it anywhere. And he picks it up and shakes it, and it's just absolutely full of shot. But and I've shot several, well, not several, I guess twice. I've shot through toms and had the arrow go into the decoy, kind of,
The arrow.
yeah, and then pull the arrow out, and you can't really see where the arrow was.
It's like that
It's just
guy that
self-healing.
Arnold Schwarzenegger had to fight in
Yeah,
that silver looking dude, that silver guy.
Yeah. Terminator.
Yeah, you heard him
T2.
and it just goes back to normal.
Yeah. It's not quite like that, but it almost the same. Yeah.
But when you started out, why does it wind up being overseas, and why not? I mean, people launch them overseas. Like when you start out, you're just making a few of them, right? So
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
when you're making a few of them yourself, you're like, you didn't even think about whether you'd make them overseas or make them in America, because you're just
Yeah.
making a handful.
Yeah.
And there's some point at which you'd have to decide that it would now make sense to have them manufactured elsewhere or not, right?
Yeah. I mean, so far we haven't had any major plans to make any turkey decoys overseas, but it might be something that we'd offer, like, especially if we could, we just want to offer as many different options as possible for people. So, you can make it lighter weight and less expensive. So, and the thing is like our half strut Jake, we had a guy that just loved that decoy and thought it was the greatest thing ever. And he kind of told us that he made this like offer to us where he would promote it, but he would need like this huge percentage of all the sales. And we kind of told him to take a hike, and next thing you know, he took it straight to China.
Oh, really?
And did a really, really hard campaign. Like, got to the point where he had most people convinced that we copied him.
What?
It took us 3 years of literally like one by one contacting people that were just, promoting his decoy like crazy, of telling them the truth and setting them straight. And took us 3 years to recover from that. And he eventually went out of business and all that stuff because people are basically good, and our customers are unbelievably great to us, and they stood by us and learned the truth and everything like that. So we deal with that, and we have other decoys where these companies that we've known of for a long, long time, and all of a sudden they have a turkey decoy, and it's just like, it looks so much like our decoy. It's just ridiculous. And that happens, and it's kind of flattering, but it's kind of annoying too, and stuff like that. And those are all made overseas. So that's a little bit difficult because now all of a sudden they're able to charge a lot less for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, because we make decoys in America and have made goose decoys in America, so we do have to charge a lot because the materials are very, very expensive. Like that material that's so durable is super, super expensive. And so we do have to charge a lot, unfortunately, for our decoys. So then the competitors, they've really benefited from that because now they'll make a decoy in China and they'll be like, well, DSD is charging, $200 for a turkey decoy. So we could probably charge $180 or something like that. Whereas our costs are dramatically different.
But you guys don't you don't package and tell, you don't like over tell that it's all designed and made in America.
I mean,
your shirt says DSD Decoys USA, but I could be like, they're based in the USA.
Yeah, we probably should push that a little harder.
Well, especially people are trying to
made in the
especially
USA.
people are trying to bone you over.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, point taken. Yeah, we probably should.
My
push that a
idea
little
for the
harder.
tail fan was American flag tail fan.
There you go. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Paul, with FHF, you guys fight it all the time on Made in America.
We do, and we're sort of in the same boat with Dave, where I started out making this in a spare bedroom, so it certainly wasn't going to have anything made overseas. I was doing custom work and really kind of started in the tactical world where that was much more of a thing. Like hunting versus tactical, the customers typically want to see a U.S. made product. I think
in the tactical space.
In the tactical space, for sure.
Because you're dealing with people who are like by definition, like
patriots,
quite patriotic.
Yeah, patriots and preppers and just tactical guys, former military, current military, that kind of stuff, law enforcement. And then moving into the hunting market, I think it's come to a point now where there is a significant amount of the customers that do want to see a U.S. made product, but there's also a lot, and we deal with it all the time, where people are like, well, I can buy it for $20 on Amazon, something that's close, or a direct copy like Dave talks about, and it just depends on the customer really and what they put as important to them.
But the part I don't get about it is when you talk about the cost thing, how you're talking about shipping it halfway around the world. Like, how does that, you'd think that if you took a person from outer space, like you take a guy who comes from Mars, and you're like, hey, I want to ask you a question. What do you think costs more? Me to sell a thing here in Montana, okay, that was made in America, or would it cost more if I had it made on another continent, halfway around the world, and then sent it over here? That person would say, oh, it'd be a lot cheaper to make it here. Why would you mail it all the way across the world?
Well, and I think that it probably used to be. The biggest thing is the labor costs overseas. You can just, people, I don't know what their hourly wage is in China or Bangladesh, but it's certainly not as much as $1 or $2. The people that are making stuff here in the U.S., and all of our stuff is made here. And so, the factories we use are paying their people well and treating their people well, and they have, their middle-class jobs. And many of those have disappeared over the years where, it used to be the textile market, mills, sewing, everything was done here. And this was brought in, as far back as right after the Revolutionary War for reasons for like national security and just independence, to have all of that stuff done here locally, just like weapons manufacturing, all of that stuff was brought here. But starting in the 80s, that just disappeared out of the country. So it's really hard to find factories in the U.S. that can do a good job of it at the scale we need, especially. I mean, many of these places, they will take an order, but they want you to order 500,000 of something in order to make it worth their time. Whereas, we're just not at that scale, and the costs are significantly higher, and it just makes it very hard, both the materials as well as the labor to actually put something together. We do our best, again, sort of coming from that tactical world in even the Berry Amendment compliance stuff, which is a defense requirement for buying military gear, made in the U.S. Many of the materials have to be made here, and so we do our best to source those materials here. Being that they're sourced here, they don't have to go overseas to be put in place, but we do struggle sometimes to find the best materials in the U.S. because I don't know whether...
When you say the best materials in the U.S., you mean the best materials produced in the U.S.?
Correct, and there are some things that just aren't made here anymore. Certain things, or if they are made here, they may not be as good because that technology has been exported over the last 30 years, and there just isn't a way to get it made here. A stupid example is our zipper pulls. I almost bought a machine to make our little molded zipper pulls on a cord, because there's, maybe one of your listeners knows, but I cannot find a place anywhere in the U.S. to have those made. The only closest thing I found was a machine that I would have had to order from China and get here to make those one at a time, and they just mold a zipper pull.
What part are you talking about?
Just the pulls on, that's why I use the cord and the knotted cord on all the zippers, because, on our little pouches, we do a little plastic zipper pull.
Yeah. And you mean there's no one in America making that? Or that you found?
Not that I've found. You can find a piece of cord with some shrink tube on it.
Yeah.
But, like a molded, nice, something you can put a logo in and, make it look nice. There just isn't. That's just one example. But there are fabrics that we use, and we use a few of them that are made overseas. But many of those are done that way because, to be honest, many of the best bag manufacturers are in Vietnam. Because that's where all the technology is. It's where all the talent is. Over there, it is considered a good job. It's a professional job to have that job. And these people work in the industry for a long time and get good at it. In the U.S., it's very hard to find the labor to do that. And so, to be honest, many of the factories end up hiring folks who have immigrated to this country. Or
brought that expertise with them.
Yeah, or, have had family members that have worked in that industry for years and kind of come up with it. But those are fewer and fewer and fewer, it seems like. So it's just it's a weird self-perpetuating problem trying to find both the materials as well as the labor and the talent to get that done in the States, and it's expensive.
So if everything at FHF gear is made in the USA, does that mean that you can't buy? But you could still buy a material made somewhere else, or is that not true?
Yeah, technically, for us to say made in the USA, virtually all of it has to be here, and we do our best to source everything local, domestically. Like I said, like zipper pulls, please reach out if you know somebody who will make those. But for the most part, we do our best. And then, there's the difference would be like assembled in the USA, where you might have, components like, say, the shoulder harness and the pouch made in two different countries and brought here and put together.
Yeah,
and that would
I'm
be
familiar with
assembled
that.
in the US. Or if you bought everything, all of your materials, from overseas sources and brought those here, and sewed them together, that might be assembled in the US. The other option would be, and we've struggled even with production companies. We had one for a while that went out of business, thankfully. Unbeknownst to us, they were sending stuff to Mexico. We were
on the sly?
Yeah, we were making and paying for them to make it in the U.S. And this was one product years and years ago when I was still in my basement, but the last one that came out of the box, I found a little tag on it that I think they used to get through customs that said "Made in Mexico," and I'm like,
Really?
And I'm like, you dirty rats, because they gave me a price for USA made or NAFTA compliant or Asia pricing, and I paid for the US made stuff, and they figured out this little guy in his basement wouldn't know the difference, and he'll pay us a little more if we get it made somewhere else.
Really? And they went out of business?
Yeah, they went out of
Rascals.
business. But
When you look at the duffel bag you're working on, it has I know you mess around with a bunch of different fabrics.
Yep.
And you'd give me bags and I'd bring them back to you.
After you broke them.
Well, I'd be like, the baggage handler, abrasion, whatever. Just stuff happens to them. Mostly that.
Yep.
I mean, anything you ever gave me would wound up being that it looks like it got stuck.
Stuck in the conveyor belt.
It got jammed in the conveyor belt. And then you settled on that sailcloth. Where's that made?
That is made overseas. That specific fabric is made overseas. Part of the reason I chose that is because of the color availability. Availability of the fabric, again, becomes a challenge. And that bag's actually a mix of U.S. fabrics and this sailcloth. But it's 100% recycled, and it's done in a facility over there that, as you guys are probably aware, almost all recycling is done overseas. Half the stuff you throw in your recycle bin either ends up at the landfill or on a boat to go get recycled.
No kidding. So like the recycling chain is like an overseas chain?
That's a whole nother, get on the YouTube and go down that rabbit hole. But
where it's actually happening?
Yeah, most of it is done overseas. And so this specific factory is recycling, and this fabric, it's a polyester, using recycled bottles and whatnot, is 100% recycled. The film is recycled, as well as the adhesive is a non-solvent based adhesive that actually works better with UV resistance, and it's actually more waterproof. So in this case, I think for this application, it was just a better fabric to use. But yeah, that one ends up being overseas, although the base of it is a U.S. based ballistic nylon.
It's made from our pop bottles.
It is, yeah.
How do you buy the stuff? It's like rolls of.
It is. So we have a little different procedure than most, whereas I do all the design and development stuff here in-house in Bozeman. So I'm able to kind of reach out to these manufacturers and get small parts and pieces. When I first started, I was buying stuff on eBay and just random stuff. Who knows where it was coming from?
Like trying to buy materials.
Yeah, because most of these big companies, especially in the U.S., they have such high minimums that it kind of prevents the little guy from ordering. Even here in Bozeman, I wouldn't want to order, rolls and rolls of fabric. I need 5-10 yards of it, and it'll last me a few months to just build some samples to get to, you and I and Jason to test out and see if it's going to work. But then once we kind of settle on that material from these producers, then we send it to our production facility, who takes the specs that we give them, and people that we our sources are spelled out to them, and then they do the bulk ordering and put everything together.
And they hire the sewers.
Yeah.
What are the main states where stuff gets sewed that's made in America?
I'd say the biggest location is Southern California. We don't use anybody there anymore. We have, but right around LA, the San Diego area seems super busy. All along the eastern seaboard there, probably South Carolina, up in New England. And then we have facilities as well that we use, like in Minnesota, as well as Indiana, kind of that Midwest state. But really, you see it like locally in Bozeman. It's very hard to find people to work those jobs, be able to pay them a wage that allows them to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
Even Mystery Ranch is here, Sims is here. They've started to move a lot of that bulk production kind of outside the area. And I don't know about Sims specifically, but Mystery Ranch's bulk production is all over the country, or their military line is all U.S. made, but their hunting line is made in Vietnam, which, as I said,
is that right? I didn't know that.
As I said before, they have probably the most talented, best as an aggregate sewers in the world. And it's just because that equipment and talent pool is there. And so I think it can start coming back to the U.S., but it has to be done by companies like us using those facilities. Because if there aren't companies like us using the facilities in the U.S., they're eventually going to go out of business and go overseas as well.
If you had to put just like a fine point on it, or I guess more like a rough point on it, making it in America, so like sewn goods, like making a backpack, bino harness, whatever in America, makes it cost what % higher?
I don't know the answer because I've never actually quoted anything in the U.S. or I'm sorry, in China or
you never, out of
overseas.
curiosity, just asked them?
I haven't, but I get emails constantly from companies over there that will send me pictures of my harness as well as competitor harnesses that say, hey, we make these. We could make yours for you.
Yeah.
And it will be, pennies on the dollar.
Really?
And if you look at Amazon, I mean, you can see, search bino harnesses on Amazon and you'll come up with many that look very similar. Once you get them in your hand, you'll realize there's a quality difference, but there's copies of all the major brands for, our harness is one of the most expensive harnesses on the market. And I think it's because it's the best. And it takes a long time to make. Ours retails at $185 and you can find a pouch that you can wear on your chest for, $18. That's made overseas. And, even some of the retailers, even some of the big optics companies, will provide a free harness with their optics that, they're getting the job done. You can hold it. It'll hold it on your chest.
It'll store it on your
It's
chest.
the difference between spin fishing and fly fishing.
It is. It is.
You guys make like Phelps game calls. You traditionally started out like just founder base. You started out you just like by necessity made them here.
Yep. Made them, and then we went through that evolution. We are sourced both domestically and overseas, and we've tried to move as much back. Like the Easy Sucker, we moved back into the States, and we're leveraging like a very big partner. We've given a lot of work, but USA manufacturing, like as much, I would love to move everything here. To be honest, they're a bigger pain in the ass to work with. Just like Paul alluded to, they don't, I feel like we're crushing it in the game call world, right? But a 10,000 piece order of this plastic part, they don't want anything to do with that. They want you to order 100,000, 500,000. We just don't have that buying capacity or the need for it. And so you just kind of get thrown through the ringer. Your prices come back high. And then I'm left with like a business decision like, do we want to sell a woodpecker call for $70.99 or do we want to sell it for $32.99 where it should be, And so a lot of times we do our best, like our new Unleashed V2 tube. As far as I know, it's maybe one of the only blow molded like tubes inside the USA, but due to the Federal Trade Commission rules, because I put a neoprene sleeve on it that comes from overseas and it's an essential part in the definition of it, all of a sudden it can't be, made in the USA. Is that right? So you got to like balance all these like FTC rules and like make sure you're following the rules. But we try. We make an honest approach. I do get a quote on everything we build USA and offshore, and there are times where we just have to pick and choose. And like I say, I'm proud and I try to keep everything here, but there's just business decisions where unless you're willing to try and sell something for 10 times all of your competition, you're just going to be stuck going that way.
Yeah.
But all of our turkey calls, all of our wood turkey calls made in the USA with the majority of our woods USA source. I don't want to be, accused of cutting down the South American rainforest. So we try to.
Yeah, I can back Jason up on this where he's talked about a lot of the woods. He's like, oh, it's a nice wood, but man, you don't want that. So we avoid that. We try to build as much as we can. We started that acrylic deer call line. We source a lot of made in the USA acrylic. We do source some acrylic from offshore, but it's depending on colors and time. So we're doing the best we can. And making an honest, a truly honest approach at keeping everything we can have made here. And when dollars and cents, I'm willing to spend a little bit more for USA made because, as you mentioned, the logistics of putting on a boat, timelines, language barriers, stuff that I sometimes struggle with. I'm willing to pay, up to 200, 300% more if I can justify it for parts. But
it's not always the option. But yeah, we fight it on every single new project where we're going and pricing.
It's a good point in that, like, having it made here allows smaller companies like us to be a little more nimble and be able to move and pivot things. You know, like, for instance, had we put that big bag that got cut on the conveyor belt into production and realized too late that, you know, maybe we shouldn't, make 10,000 of those. They aren't sitting on a boat on the way over here. We can quickly switch a material and have that one-on-one. I have the cell phone number of the guy who's going to make that happen and just get it done the same day versus, kind of this Skype call to somebody who there's a language barrier with and struggle with.
That helped us a lot too, to just be nimble and quick and be able to come up with a product quickly.
Yeah.
Because we're molding it ourselves, sculpting it, molding it, and casting the parts and painting it, and working out the paint system. We can come up with a new decoy pretty quickly, as the market changes, the populations change, or hunters' interests change, and that's kind of nice to be able to do that.
Well, and also we're making small daily batches of decoys, whereas if you're importing, you're buying container loads. And so you could get an order of 5,000 decoys only to find out that, there's some huge quality issue there. And now you have a whole container load of decoys.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we stay small, and we literally can walk out into the shop and take a good look over our product every day. And we're really tight on quality control that way.
So I could call you guys and say, I want you to go out and find me the nicest one out there.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was going to say he could walk out in the shop and yell at somebody. Hey, this is junky.
We could do that. Yeah.
Man, that duffel bag, though, what are you going to call the duffel bag?
Our pit duffel, just because it opens up into a big...
Can you people buy it yet?
Not yet. Yeah.
June.
Okay.
That's the nicest duffel bag I think ever made by man.
Well, it's relatively simple, but it
it's great, but it seems like it's going to float away.
Just as far as light, and that's the
amazing.
Other benefit to that fabric is it's ultra light, and the film and the coating on that allows it to just be ultra durable. Like I said, I'm not going to call it a waterproof bag, but very water resistant and tough. Like that material itself is just reinforced, and it's going to be. I think it'll be a good bag.
But you got to make you're going to make a bunch of sizes, 3 sizes?
Maybe. Still got to argue with the internal corporate
about how many
how many sizes we can make.
Give me the arguments. What are the arguments? Give me the pro and con.
Well, I don't know that there are. I don't have any cons. I want to make a larger one that's it'd end up being the one you have is like a 60-liter duffel. I want to do a 30, a 60, and a 90-liter duffel.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be perfect. We've already made the 90. We've tested it. I made one, but we've traded around the shop and used it for flights here and there.
Send me over a 30, man.
I need to make. I've yet to make one of those, but we're actually having all 3 of them priced currently at production to make sure that we are able to do that quickly.
Can I give you a hot tip?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you do 3, I'd call it the 110, 220, and 330.
There you go.
Conibears.
Because that's the 3 Conibear sizes.
Right. I like it.
I mean, there's all their goofy stuff. There's like 180s.
160s.
That's going to confuse.
160s. There's 160s, 280s, but no one pays attention. The 110, the 220, and the 330.
Then I'll confuse everybody with capacity.
And people, what do the numbers mean? Like, it's a long story. It's nothing to do with Has nothing to do with volume.
That's always good in marketing when you're like, this is a long story.
Yeah. Can I ask, do they have like backpack straps on them?
They do, yeah. The backpack straps are the handles, and you can kind of basically decide where you want those. But yeah, they're comfortable backpack. Like the giant one I made, I've used in airports as well. And if you got to walk real far, I mean, that one was 140 liters or something. It was a huge, which is why I got caught on the conveyor belts everywhere. But and it wasn't as comfortable as this one. This one actually feels like
it's wearable.
Yeah, it's certainly wearable.
Perfect.
Around.
So the one I have is 60?
Yes.
Yeah, 30, 60, 90, dude.
Yeah.
110, 220, 330.
Won't confuse anybody.
So what's up with Apex belts with turkey season coming up?
So that is, it's funny. We just got done with the show and had to kind of explain to people that the foundations we came out with, the belt, the hydration pack, both are multiple use items. Just happens with the, and I say multiple use. How do I best explain that? I use it as a range belt, a hiking belt, hunting belt.
Yeah, fishing, whatever.
Fishing. I scouted
Kind
all
of
summer in it.
All season, all pursuit.
Yep.
I was using mine for buck rattling.
Yep. But being that we're launching that here in the spring, figured we would include some accessories or launch some accessories about the same time. So we have the box call pouch coming out with it. The belt itself is a 3-piece belt, so it's really expandable, kind of designed to be a one-size-fits-most belt. Got kind of an internal frame sheet, MOLLE attachment. Those who are familiar with a battle belt will kind of be familiar with the idea of a padded, imagine like the belt of a big frame pack without a backpack attached.
That's a good way of putting it.
Has suspenders available, has a folding seat that kind of tucks up out of the way. And
yeah, is that out now or not out?
It is, yeah.
That thing's sweet.
Launched that, and you don't even notice you're wearing that.
No.
It's super, minimal. We've seen interest from that from predator hunters, turkey hunters, as well as...
Well, my old turkey vest had a seat, and I like a seat, but all day you walk around with that seat banging the back of your knees, drives you insane, man.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of heard from customers is like, one, they're usually a pain to stow if you're going to stow them up behind you, and if you don't stow it, they hit you in the calves the entire rest of the day. So this one tucks away easily using magnets. You can hook it to a backpack. We did a video recently on social, just hooked it to my trouser belt and to my bino harness and didn't have any belt. Worked out well. So you can kind of customize and tailor that whole system to fit your style.
And the pot call pouch.
We did the pot call pouch. We call it echelon, right and left, just because they're kind of a triangle shape with the point facing forward. That's how you figure out right and left.
Yeah, and if you're inclined to leave all your shit out in the woods, this is a good little thing to have with you.
Yeah, easy to.
It encourages not leaving all your junk in the woods.
Easy to put stuff in, easy to get in and out of quickly.
Because you can actually operate out of it. It's a pot call holder, but it opens out.
Yep, exactly.
So when you're sitting there, it's actually just as good to have it there as it is lay it in the leaves next to you, which is what I used to do. I used to kind of hide my stuff in the leaves. And then later I'd go back and try to find where I put it.
I need to put some more lanyard loops on that thing. But it's just the way it sits open. Yeah, you can, it's kind of just like our chest rig. You can just open it and work out of it and put everything back where it goes. It's got the spots for your pot and peg, as well as scratch pads, all that stuff. We found out at the shows it actually conceals a handgun in there pretty well as well.
I can picture that.
We had numerous people ask, and I actually like to wear mine. So I'll wear the left one. So the triangle faces forward on your left. I wear that on my right side
For cross draw.
Well, it creates like a wing of sorts where when you sling your shotgun, it sits right behind there and kind of creates a little weapons catch. So
that's good.
It actually works out really well in that respect. But I think that covers the.
So
turkey
how about
pouch.
the Morel bag?
It is available now.
Okay.
Yep, and it's just.
Does anybody buy those? People are stupid if they don't.
People, I
not
think,
a Morel bag.
need to be educated as to what they are. They're all over in the tactical world. Guys use them for mag dump pouches. Putting down empty mags or whatever. We've been using them for like rifle hunting. If you need to stow your gloves quick, instead of putting them inside your coat or dropping them as you're moving, you just stuff them in that bag. It's just gets the size of like a chew can rolled up.
It's like a big ass bag that hangs from your belt, but it rolls up like a chew can. Well, you wouldn't know it was there.
No, and the way it's designed,
and then you undo it and it opens up, and you can put like 8 meals worth of Morels in there.
Yep, absolutely.
Turkey hunt.
And it's got a mesh bottom on it, so if you are putting stuff that's dirty or wet, it still drips out the bottom. Doesn't collect, and then it's removable, so it's mollied onto your belt. The attachment system we use, and it just you can unhook it and empty it, do whatever you need to.
But it's a drop bag too, so it's out of your way.
Yeah, and it sits underneath. The way it is attached, it sits underneath your existing pouches, so it doesn't take up extra room on your belt. And so if you don't need it, you really don't even notice it's there.
Yeah. So everything people need to hunt turkeys is available on there.
It is, yeah. And again, that's, because of the timing of launching all this stuff, we focused on turkeys to start with, but the plan would be to have a whole lot of different stuff coming out that will attach, and any of our old existing pouches still attached to it now. And like you said, I use it fishing at the range, all over the place.
But it's got shoulder straps too.
It does. It has kind of the same geometry as the First Light elastic suspenders, or you could attach it to the hydration pack and use your hydration pack as your shoulder yoke.
But when but you can buy it all. You can buy right now, right? It's not like they came. Did they sell out? Came out and not for sale?
We did a soft launch in December, and then we did limited colors then, and they did sell out. Some of those sold out right away, and then we relaunched them here just a couple of weeks ago with all the colors.
Oh, so
available.
people can get it right now. Just get it.
Yep,
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay. And what else is coming up next?
Pit duffle in June. We've got a hip quiver.
Yep. Kind of a interesting hip quiver that I think is different than any of them I've ever seen on the market. Ambidextrous kind of use, and there's a lot of companies out there doing them, but none's ever been done like this. So that'll be the summer launches. You probably know more than me.
Yeah, we have a bit of a quiet year after Apex belt system, just given the nature of last year. We had, I don't even know how many new products with the fob. So we'll have one more launch this year, and then we're kind of grinding on 2025 stuff. So.
And how are you coming on our secret, our working title, Rio Loco? Did you see it?
Yeah, I was there. Remember when Dirt named that thing?
Yeah. He needs to do a bunch of research on this.
Yes. Yeah.
I have the only one in existence right now. Oh, and also Phelps, what's up with the moose call?
We got it. You and Clay asked a lot, but we have to make a little divergence. It's unsustainable to build it the way you guys wanted, and be like this ultra. I won't say ultra premium. That's not ultra premium, but it just can't be produced one at a time in a big giant. 80.
No, I want you in there just making one at a time. When you get one done, let someone know. Move on to that.
Like the original call
Handmade
days. Like,
by
hey,
Jason
I
Phelps.
just made this one. It's up for sale. Like just all day web maintenance. But no, it's coming. We finally found somebody that would injection mold it with the right plastic makeup and a huge like fiberglass fill. So it'll be very, very similar to what you guys used. We made it a little bit thinner. Some of the other reviewers wanted a little more resonation out of it, and so we.
What are they talking about?
Thinned it up
Other
just a little bit.
reviewers. Who else is better moose
Now,
hunters than me and
do
Steve?
they want it to? They want to be able to rake brush.
Rake. They want it to be a little more hollow when they rake and brush, and then they want. But I'll talk to you. There's some reasons why we
Me and
also
Steve are
thinned it
after
up.
big bulls.
And then
Thick-
you're doing
thick
you're
wall
taking our
calls.
color suggestion, right?
Oh yeah. We picked your. It was weird. The name has green in it, but it was the most accurate. It was like some weird sage green color that they could cast. But yeah, it'll be
Meaning that your call looks like a paddle.
But yeah, it'll be like
that
paddle
could be really
color.
good. Does it have the reed in it, or is it just voice?
We're gonna work on it. We got some other changes to it, but yeah, we'll have that read in there as an accessory. But I think 99% of people will probably just voice
Yeah,
call,
you can
but
just do it with the
we'll have
voice.
that as an option.
Okay.
And then real quick before we wrap up, review for me what hot new turkey products are out, and then I want the DSD guys to do the same.
So turkey calls this year, we got the new triple locator, hawk scream, owl scream, woodpecker call. We brought back working with Steve Morgenstern, one of the greats in the friction call world. We've got 2 signature series, so we went with. I'm going to get this wrong. We went with mulberry and a red slate, and then we went with like a very specific specced out hard slate in Babinga. So we have two of those pots coming, and then we've got the new Rain series that we partnered up with Chris Parrish, probably the all-time winningest turkey caller, and great guy that we work with on the turkey call side on a 3-pack of those really light, more intricate diaphragms this year. We've got a new reverse tapered striker. I think I can talk about it now. A reverse tapered striker. So like,
by the way, why'd you give Clay a pack of calls, but you didn't give me a new pack of calls?
Clay gave me credit for that. I don't know where he dug those up when he got here.
Oh yeah, you didn't give those to me. Somebody else did.
Yeah, all right. So, but then we've got like strikers forever have been like, they usually get bigger as they go out to the bell, but like you can see on this one, it actually gets skinnier back towards where we make the connection on the end. A lot more vibration. You can actually feel it in your striker, and so we're getting a little bit more. Once again, Morgenstern had that idea, so we're going to bring that guy out this year. And everybody talks about. You always hear everybody talk about diamond wood strikers. Wake up the cheapest calls, and we finally found a company that has.
They talked about that.
Yeah, like that's the best striker material you can, in my opinion, and a lot of turkey hunters' opinions, you can use. We finally found somebody that had like the original recipe to diamond wood. Everybody, a lot of people have tried to imitate it but haven't got it right, and so we're back to like the original diamond wood.
What is
strikers? So it's just a bunch of laminated, short, really thin veneers, and they put a bunch of phenolic resin and then put it under like crazy amounts of pressure. So even though it's wood, it's also got a lot of phenolic in it. And so it's fairly waterproof. It will saturate out, but like just that thing will wake up a $10 pot call that you got at Walmart.
Can I have this?
Yeah, that's yours.
It does look like you put it in there backward.
Yeah, no, it was designed that way.
You need to write on
reverse
this.
taper.
This is supposed to be this way.
Yeah, we did. It wasn't like it wasn't a reject off the machine.
You need to write reverse taper.
Yep.
It feels good in your hand.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You can build a real marginal pot call and throw that striker in with it, and you're like, bam.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And then tell me about the triple locator again.
So Hawk Scream, it's got 3 settings on the band. So if you set it closest to the
call right there.
Front of we got this, and then we also have it in like a more custom fancy laminate. You got the Owl Screamer in the middle setting, and then all the way back we've got that pileated woodpecker, just locator.
All in one.
Yeah, loud. Extremely loud, with the intention. The hunter's call, just to get them to locate.
Yep. Are you still selling Clay's acorn call?
We are. We're about out. We did that rerun and really didn't talk a whole lot about it. And I think we're getting down into real low 2-digit inventory left, and that's going to be the last run ever. We've made some improvements.
Yeah, we got
some material improvements, and gonna the one little
those
issue.
will be collectors.
You're going to retire it?
Yeah.
Well,
so Clay, we did something cool. We wanted to use white oak, and we realized like the finishing of white oak was a giant pain in the ass at times. So we had to go back and change some O-rings.
But the structure of the call, it being an inhale, exhale, doe bleat, buck grunt. I mean, that's the acorn grunter.
Yeah.
But the oak acorn grunter is
gonna go, the oak part is gonna go away. We're gonna switch it over to acrylic.
How many did we make of those?
Total. So in the 2 different runs,
I
think
exist?
We're at 1,200 total. And then, so yeah, if you don't if you want to get one, we sold a bunch of them there at the Portland show. People loved them, and yeah, it's pretty unique. Great sounding call. You blow on one, and something, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of a collector's item, you know what happened to me the other night? That was a huge mistake. My buddies were over because of my birthday, and someone's like, "Hey, can we open this bottle of whiskey?"
Oh, don't.
Well, I was like, "Oh, I don't care. We quit drinking." And you know that they opened it, I didn't realize
the
it was sitting back there. When we had that barrel of MeatEater bourbon, it was the bottle that said 001.
Oh.
And I had it like
you were never gonna use it.
I know, but dude,
they got it.
You got a little chunk of change for that.
If it was
the eBay,
if you'd have sent it to my collection, it would still be sitting up there unopened.
I was so pissed. Once I realized what happened, yeah, it's gone now.
Save the bottle.
They have gone.
But save the bottle.
This is whiskey's meant to be drinking, drank by good friends. And what better than the 50th birthday party?
It was my oldest friends. It was like my OG friends that drank it. So that's fine. Yeah. All right, Dave, you do the same thing. What's the hot new ticket? The hot new DSD items for spring turkey, which is coming up.
New for this spring is that we finally made a pack that's designed to carry DSD turkey decoys. It's a fly down pack, and it was designed by our own Scott Sprecher. And it is.
Rather than putting them in a big gunny sack?
Yeah, rather than putting the straps around your neck, and it's like you put 2 this way and 2 this way.
That's what
and
I always do. I cross
them,
so I'm getting strangled from each side.
Yeah, which we've all done. But this is a really comfortable pack that's lightweight and has a divider in it, so it easily carries a Jake and a hen, half strut Jake and a hen, and maybe a little more than that. And then there's also a chest rig, and they can be worn together. And the chest rig is basically to hold every essential thing that you need for turkey hunting.
Did you bring me one of those packs?
Nope.
Does it have a
So
place?
it replaces your turkey vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a
Okay.
and it has a pad, seat pad. Also.
Really?
Yeah.
I just want the backpack.
It's not quite the utility belt that. That's what I was
No,
thinking.
I mean
with
it's a bag to. I want the bag to carry the decoys in instead
Yeah,
of putting them in
and you
those
can
big
get it-
ass gunny sacks.
Yeah, you can put the decoy within its bag in the backpack, or just take it out of its bag and put it in the backpack because it protects the whole decoy. So that makes it super fast setup.
No, that's what I want.
And you can buy it, Steve, as just the backpack or just the chest pack, or you can get the pair.
And you guys are
Yeah,
all in
it's just-
stock. People aren't gonna have any problem when they go to buy their decoys for this spring.
Yeah.
So far, we're caught up. Yep.
Good, man. I'm getting excited. Like turkey's coming. I mean, it's here for the people down south.
Yep.
I'm excited. I get this time of year. I get like where I do a mental transition, and I just start putting junk away. Like if I had ice fishing stuff out, it's done. Trapping stuff, put it away. Just start clearing the deck.
Yep.
Like I lose interest in everything, and it's like turkey time.
Yeah, it's an exciting time.
And then one thing I might add to that, Steve, is our preening hen was so popular last year, and so many of our customers were actually buying multiple preening hens that we're now offering it as a twin pack. You can get 2 preening hens and save a little money that way.
Sweet.
So that was a decoy we came out with kind of late. So a lot of people used it last year, and we were really super happy with it.
Did you bring
So-
me one of those?
Yeah, we do. We've got one here. Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
you did?
It's like, right. It's like almost.
Now, if
Yeah,
you put
so
two
this
of
is
those
just a
out,
Steve,
Yeah.
happy belated. 50th.
confidence
Thank you.
decoy. You know.
Now, do you think when a big gobbler comes up to 2 preening decoys, he's gonna go, "What are the chances both of those ladies are preening at the same time?"
But I will say this. So, in our observations, it was amazing the number of times that 4 or 5 hens are preening together, and they're preening
Okay.
the same group of feathers at the same time.
Huh.
And
What?
so
Huh.
that's what's so amazing about this decoy is that is a sign of turkeys that are 100% relaxed. Like they will only do feather maintenance when they're just completely feeling safe. So it's
So
a
it's
great,
the opposite
great
of the
confidence
decoy where they're all standing exactly vertical.
Alarmed. Yeah. Yeah, we
with their
haven't done the
eyes
alarm
bugging out the
series
side
yet.
of their head.
Yeah.
Looking in the same direction.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
I like having the roundup, the turkey roundup of everything that's going on this year. Fire it up. Do a gobble, Phelps.
Oh, you put me on the spot again.
Let me hear yours, Clay. No, Phelps wins. Here's mine. Ready?
Yep.
That's all I need to hear right there. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. So everybody check out, as you're gearing up for spring turkey, check out DSD decoys. Check out FHF gear for all your toting, your binos and toting equipment, and the Apex belt, and Phelps game calls for all your game calls needs. Get out, get some gobblers, make some schnitzel, and watch for the evolution of a turkey going into his strut T-shirt.
That's a
7/8
great
strut.
idea.
7/8 strut. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yo, check it. I'm a backwoods gangster, real jive turkey, stay sharp cause I know murderers lurking behind every tree, busting caps at me. Most fools couldn't hit a barn like a leech. Wear my beard like a gold chain, sniff out acorns like they're cocaine. Got a sexy ass waddle on my neck, got 6-inch spurs, so don't disrespect. Stay high in my roost all night, spitting at heads, getting in fights. Can't fool me with your weak ass calls. Real Grundy's like Tupac and Eastern's like Biggie Smalls. These words are dangerous. certified moss back, lunatic, long beard, thunder, chicken, hammerhead. King cause I got a white crown. Watching homies getting murdered, dead on the ground. Ain't scared of an owl or a crow. No way I'm ever gonna shock gobble, bro. Walk into the party full strut. Show my snoot, still the brood, not giving a cluck. Got beef with the homie named Jake for short. So as Jenny took her home, then I made her purr. No tomfoolery, you can't fool me. Camo wearing amateurs, I might just go damage ya.